with a line drive single up the middle, base hit, and Danny off to a terrific start in the SSA Chicago Summer Series. If you didn't get a chance, check out the video recap from the North-South. And that'll bring up Mark Manizzi. So we're underway here. If you're new to the broadcast, this is Chicago-style 16-inch softball. You're seeing it correct, no gloves. So Manizzi checks in here. And he hits a little roller to Joe Piscitelli. Long throw across in time. Pish, very strong arm, even though that was a slow roller, hugging the ground. Made the play. 60-foot bases. You can lead off, you can't steal. 38 from the pitching rubber to home plate. Open count. Pitcher gets a drag step since we're playing no glove. That's one step left, right, or back. Two fakes or hesitation. Spencer Mahoney in the box. Third arm action has to be to deliver the ball home. A throw or fake to a base is one of your fakes or hesitations. And this is a tough sun field for a lot of these hitters. Moji hasn't really lined up the shadow with home plate, but some of these left-handed hitters might have a little problem this time of the day. Spencer swings, hits a fly ball, and that's going to drop. Had a little inside-out action on it, and that ball just kind of died and was also drifting away from Brian Kearns. We got a slight breeze here. Feels like it's blowing cross breeze right to left. Brings up Matt Manizzi. So one out, runners on the corner. These two teams played twice last weekend in the North-South, both times on Sunday. Flashback dropped Signature into the losers bracket. Flash eventually lost the game, and Signature returned the favor and excused them from the proceedings. Manizzi goes the other way, base hit. That's going to score the first run. Mahoney will get to third, 1-0 Signature as they go first and third here. So even though we're only in June, coming off of the North-South, everybody's still kind of working through the post-tournament malaise that teams go through. And here's Greg Fleming, another guy off to a really good start. You never know when you bring kids up. He was on the Pharaohs, and you never know how they're going to react to taking a step up in class. High fly ball, right fielder danced with it, but makes the catch. No tag by Manizzi, 2-0. And the right fielder really was kind of dancing all the way. Let's see if Signature tries to pick on him or not. So this is going to bring up Brian Haas with 2 outs here. Again, the live stream powered by Gold Rush Gaming. And Haas swings, and he hits the ball right up the middle, base hit. Brian Kearns gets it in a hurry. So we were out at Forest Park watching last night, and some of the games had slow starts to them, but then the team started to get into the moment, and the tempo picked up a little bit. This is Donnie Rollins. That ball just tipped the plate. Again, we're using a 16-inch clincher for you newer fans. There's a ball snagged by Stacy, 360. Little short hop. He put the big mitt down there, that big paw, and the ball stuck. So at the end of a half an inning, 2-0 Signature. So Enrique Munoz on the hill today. Both teams missing a couple of their star players. And it looks like I don't see Signature with a short center, so they're playing with 9 guys. I don't know what the rule is. Typically, in the SSA rule book, that 10th hitter is an automatic out. And if that's the case, they would have 8, 9 out, and then the top. So I don't know if they play that out here in Melrose. Junior, they play if you don't have 10, it's an out here? Yeah, because they only got 9. So Brian Kearns stepping in the box. Will be followed by Julian Gutierrez and Joe Piscitelli. So a lot of stuff coming up. We'll be doing the draw for the Midsummer Classic this Saturday. Little Chopper back to Q. He'll make that play for out number 1 at McGaffers at 4 p.m. That should be a wild tournament. So we've had 2 big events and 2 different winners. So nobody's establishing any dominance yet this summer out here. We did a review show, or a wrap-up show, I should say. Next week we'll be doing the pre-tournament show once we get the draw. Takes that pitch a little deep. Grabs a strike. So we got that coming up. We'll be out at Harrison Park tomorrow. There's a swing, and Julian goes to center. Center fielder Danny Marston. Danny, very versatile kid. He can play infield, outfield. And off to a great start, hitting the ball and in all phases of his game this summer. Brings up Joe Piscitelli. So we'll be doing that. We'll be out at Harrison Park. I think we're going to show the 8 o'clock Fat Kids Hardway game. And, of course, we're going to be out there Saturday. We will have the championship game and the potential if game. And we might try to sneak out in the morning, but with the draw at 4, we got a few things we got to make sure we take care of. But we will be live streaming from the 3rd annual Phil Coronado tournament. Harrison Park has been around for 51 years, and the guys out there do a terrific job. Then, of course, 2 weeks from now, we have the SSA Tom Egg-Zarnik Class A No Glove National Championship. That'll be back up in Schaumburg. And right now, I think we got 26 teams. We can take a couple of more. So if you're an A team and you're interested, scroll down and look for that flyer. You can see who to call, either Patty Caputo. That ball's hit on the ground. Spencer Mahoney, a little bobble, and they just nipped Joe Piscitelli at first. So that should be a fun event, as well as they're going to have a bags tournament, and it's not going. Testing. Test.
Anybody bring fucking seeds?
Pat Caputo, if you're in the audience, call out here. They're having a rule question. Signatures only got 9 guys.
Just go home right now and agree to a draw.
So they have a rule issue. The SSA rule book. The house rule doesn't mention if you start with less than 10, which you're required to do. They do use SSA rules out here. And the SSA rule book says you have to start with 10. If you start with 9, it's an automatic out. If a 10th player shows up, you have to put them in that slot.
Okay, thank God. Here we go. Let's go. Write that down so we know for next time. There you go.
So here comes Alan Mills, be followed by Enrique Munoz, and then that open spot. And and Alan Mills tried to go up the middle, but Vito Iovino, fresh from a little walk around in Europe, his plane landed at 5 and he got here for the game. How about that for dedication? Or Flashback might have been short as well. So here's Enrique Munoz, 2-0, top of the second. No, we know that, Joel. But in the SSA rulebook, and there's Vito's second line drive, and now with the third out, automatic out, that'll end the inning. You're correct. They have house rules here, and the house rules were silent on that. And they do use the SSA rulebook, so anything that's not altered by a house rule defaults to the SSA rulebook. So it's really not a controversy. Now, the interesting thing is, obviously, if somebody gets thrown out, the game would be over, and I do not believe you can finish with 8, because the minimum number you can start with is 9. So it's going to be Mike Manzella, Anthony Stacy, and Vito Iovino. So bottom of the second. But it's always interesting because if you're hitting 9th in a lineup and there's no 10th guy, there's a hard ground ball, and that's going to sneak through for Manzella. Leadoff hit for Flash. The interesting thing, if you're that 9th guy and you get a hit, you just keep running until they tag you. So that's going to bring up Anthony Stacy's slick play on the top of the first. So he went to his left and basically one-handed a ground ball that Donnie Rollins hit. Looked like it was going to be a hit, and that ball's fair down the line. Brian Haas knocks it down. First 2 hitters on. So Vito hasn't played in a couple of weeks. And they do have a doubleheader, so it's always possible a 10th guy may show up at some point.
Never know, Alan. Somebody out.
I like the fact that Vito hasn't played in a while, but he's being patient up there. Part of that may be he did not get any batting practice. And there he hits a little soft flare, long run for Fleming. He had 2 hands on it, and then he literally banged it out of his hands with, I don't know if that was his knee or his foot. He was bending over. He got to it okay, and then he kind of punched it out of his own hands. So the bases are loaded here for Ryan Russ, currently tied for the triple leader in the Chicago Summer Series. Another interesting fact, Ryan is also the leading put-out guy with 49. It'll tell you how many balls to left field he's getting to. And it also will tell you Ryan, a terrific elite defender. It also tells you that Mike Marasovic, Moji, doing the bulk of their pitching, is pitching to the strength of his defense, which is left field, shortstop, and third base. So what they're doing is they're making hitters pull the ball and hit the ball at their better defenders. Not that they have beat, and he walks in a run 2-1. Now bring up Denny Lawler, brother Shane on deck. So home plate jumping around a little, and Denny hits it hard. Marston was playing him shallow. Lawler beats him over the top. 2 runs are in. Ryan is going to score. And Denny takes a leisurely walk into second base with a run-clearing triple. Now, back in the day, Denny Lawler had a lot of pop. And I think they figured because he didn't play much, I'm a little surprised they're not using a courtesy here. But they may have other guys dinged up. Nobody out here for Shane Lawler. Then he hit that pretty good to dead center. And you could tell the minute Danny took the drop step, he was in trouble.
On the way ahead here.
Well, we got a lot of terrific left fielders, but certainly Ryan Russ is in the team picture. He actually runs very well. He bulked up a little bit. And there's a swing and a base hit. And they'll hold Denny Lawler here. Runners on the corner, nobody out. And here comes, they got him listed as Mez, M-E-Z. Nobody out here. Flash has already put 4 on the board. And there's a fly ball. Menizzi's got a strong arm, and he's going to throw it to second. So Denny Lawler scores. Of course, Denny started out. He was an outfielder, as was his brother Shane. They both transitioned into the infield. And Flash has jumped up 5-2 here, bottom of the second. And we'll see if Moji just tries to move the runner. He's been doing a lot of that this season, just hitting soft ground ball toward first or second. But he takes a swing there, ground ball, a little trouble for Haas. He had a lot of time and caught a big break there. From our angle, it looked like it was going to go through the opening, but ball had some crazy spin, and it kicked right and stayed in play. So they will courtesy for Mike Marasovic, first and third. And Kearns, a little ground ball. It's going to score another run. No chance to double up Kearns. And Flash has put a 6 spot up here and counting. 2 outs now. Of course, Brian Kearns can flat out run. Any kind of a stretch single, he's going to score. Yeah, we got a lot of choices for the all-Geo team. We had a lot of fun with that last year. I actually had a few guys chime in thanking me for that this year when the season started. And I got Jerry Brown, my co-host on a lot of our live programs, chirping in my ear with suggestions. And there's a hard ground ball fair. Haas pumped safe at first. So no short center. Brian Haas, that's reflexive, as he automatically was going to go to short way. Julian, of course, a left-handed hitter, but nobody at second base without a short center on the field. Brings up Joe Pish, and he pops a sky-high pop-up, and Spencer got a hand on it but couldn't make the catch. Tried to one-hand it, running hard to the screen. So new life for Joe Pish. Jerry Brown is in the park, but he's watching the game down here. I think Jerry's down at the other field along the right field line. I can see him in the lawn chair. And Joe Pish just guided that to center. But in the inning, good inning for Flashback. They put up a 6. Signature will have the top of their lineup coming up. Danny Marston, Mark Menizzi, and Spencer Mahoney. I played once. I showed up in the Les Duncan NSA World Tournament out in Country Club Hills one day. I think it was, I want to say maybe it was in 04, end of 04. And I was going to be playing with the Bucketheads. And they had a team out there and they were short. So I'm in my cargo shorts and they go, put your gear on. Here's Marston. And Danny, he just keeps hitting. And we've seen Danny pull the ball and go the opposite way, but so far this season, he seems to be content just hitting line drives where the short center isn't. Brings up Mark Menizzi. And so we had 9 guys. We ended up beating the Young Guns in that tournament. And there's a little flare out of play. So you can win with 9. And if you're hitting at the top of the lineup, it's kind of fun because you get a lot of at-bats in a hurry. So here's a Menizzi. And there's a high pop-up going back as Denny Lawler makes the catch. Vito didn't even move. Some of the Flashback guys are giving him grief. That was closer to a short center's ball. I think Vito's giving them the I'm jet lagged routine. So here's Spencer Mahoney. You talking about Marston or Villarreal, Jerry? So Mike Marasovic will work fast. He's got 2 knuckleballs. He's got the floater. And he's got the one he throws a little firmer. Not much of a wind. There is some above the treetops. Field level, it's very calm. And the flag on the flagpole over here by the building is straight down, but the top of the trees, there is a little breeze up there. So 0-2 on Mahoney. And Mahoney, a hard ground ball right to Vito, big hop, and they twist the double play. So the leadoff single erased. In essence, they go 1, 2, and 3. And we'll head to the bottom of the third, 6-2 Flashback. This has the feel of a post-no-glove game, even though we're really about halfway through the major stuff. 5 big tournaments, so if you're a bar, restaurant, you want to put video gaming in your establishment, give Gold Rush Gaming a call. They'll walk you through all your options. make sure you tell them that you heard about it and you're big fans of the SSA. You can call them at 630-307-0500, or you can email them at inquiries@Gold Rush Gaming, and please gamble responsibly. So here's Mike Manzella to lead off the bottom of the third. I'm only doing one game. You can tell my voice is a little rough from this past weekend. There was supposed to be a lot of rain in the area, but it hasn't materialized here. It slid south down by I-80, and that ball's off a cue, and there's a base hit. So he bangs it off a cue, and it's going to bring up Anthony Stacy. Stacy just tried to flip down the right field line, way foul. As we're seeing some foul balls getting hit. There's an okay amount of foul territory at this park. It's not excessive, no fences, so it's all you can get. And there's the world's greatest trash talker, Bob Rush Jr.
Oh, Dan.
But Bobby did it the right way with a smile on his face. He'll be holding clinics shortly. So here's a reset on Anthony Stacy. And there's a high fly ball. Marston started back, but can of corn, he puts it away for the first out of the inning, and it brings up Vito.
What out, Mike?
I will be sure to pass that. Well, Father Time finally caught up to me, Russ.
Big.
And you guys missed a nice skip move by Gio there, getting out of the way. As Vito whistled a one-hopper past my right foot. Who's Bobby Rush? Polito just called you Bobby Rush, famous politician.
What out, Mike?
Yeah, it was time, Rusty, for me, you know. And there's a base hit for Vito. Manzella will stop at second. You know, we all get old. I mean, I'm 62 now. I did play till I was about 52 or 53. Well, I was still playing back there, Mike. And where's my money? But when I had the younger kids, I didn't want to take at-bats away from them. And then the SSA started, and just too much on the plate. I had a good run. I pitched a little deep. Got to play in a couple of major national championship tournaments, won an A.
What out, boys?
And there's a line drive into no man's land. Tough play, safe at first, bases loaded. So Ryan Russ, I tell you, man, Q's been in the shooting gallery with that big hole up the middle. And they have just been pounding the ball up through there. And Mark Menizzi, the second baseman, is trying to move hard up the middle, and that ball deflected back more toward where a second baseman might be. So when you're short-handed like that, it creates a lot of issues.
Shoot him at home, Matty.
And there's a little fly ball. Marston will catch it, another run will score, and that'll be out number 2. So 7-2, flashback. I was okay, Rusty. I had some fast hands. And unlike these kids today, I was a ghost, man. I was,
Come on, pick it up.
I think I only got maybe touched or knocked down 2 or 3 times in 20 plus years. Catch it, throw it, and move. That's my advice to short centers today. Now, I had an advantage of having played a lot of short and second and hardball, and that's going to be the end of the inning as Marston catches Shane Lawler's fly ball. He did back up that time. So
Yes, here we go.
I had the footwork down.
All that for only one.
Well, just Butch, we're not delving into political or other types of arguments, so don't junk up our stream. We're here to talk softball. So it's going to be Matt Menizzi, Greg Fleming, and Brian Haas. Still doable if you're signature. They just need to string some hits together and keep in mind the 10th spot isn't out, so you need to. And there's a line drive, and he gets it over Stacy. Leadoff hit for Menizzi. Signature puts their leadoff man on.
Want it? Good.
Well, just Butch, I don't know who you are, but my guess is you're some clown that has got a miserable life and is hanging out under a fake name. And Greg Fleming over to Stacy. He can't handle it.
Go, buddy.
And that'll bring up Brian Haas. And there's a swing and a little flip shot, and it's down. 1 run is in. Fleming's going to score. Brian Haas, a 2-run double. And Signature starts fighting back here a little bit. Again, we told you once the games get going, the juices start to flow. Still nobody out this inning. Another run standing at second base. And Signature does have 3 hitters. And there's a little ground ball. Shane Lawler will go ahead and take the out. It does move Brian Haas over to third with 1 out, and it brings up Alan Mills. And I think now if you're Signature, you're hoping for 1 of 2 things. You're hoping for a couple of hits, obviously. But you don't want these next 2 guys to make outs, and then you're going to start the top of the 5th with an automatic out. And there's a little ground ball. It'll drive in a run as Allen gives himself up. And Signature's cut it to 2. So now the pressure's on Q. His job is to find his way on base so you don't start the 5th with an automatic out. Again, if you're late to the broadcast, they only had 9 guys, so that 10th guy's an out. Thanks for the update, Jerry. 45's leading Impact, 7-4. Well, you know, Jerry, that's a good point. And if I was Flashback, well, it is and it isn't. And I'm going to tell you why. If you walk them, the inning's over, but there weren't any other runners in scoring position. And if you walk them and you take the automatic out, then signature starts with the top of their lineup. Now they're going to start the fifth inning with one out. So you wouldn't walk them there. You know, if it's, say, the seventh inning and the tying run is on base, in scoring position, you'd walk them and take the automatic out to end the game. So it's going to be, what's Mez's first name?
Anthony.
Anthony. Okay. Calling him Mez. So Anthony, I'm sure Mez is a chop down of his last name. No, they started with 9. Yeah. Well, they're playing. Who's umping? Oh. I should have live streamed and umped at the same time. So Anthony leading off, Mike Marasovic on deck. And there's a line drive to Mahoney, easy play. And it brings up Mike Marasovic. So Signature had a nice inning. They played at 3 to get back into this ball game, playing with 9 guys.
Right out of here.
And Moji's been doing a real good job, really, the last 2 years for Flash on the Hill. A lot of people think he's one of the top 2 or 3. And he draws a walk, and a courtesy run for him with Mez. He brings up Brian Kearns. It always amazes me sometimes pitchers. They will be facing a guy they think is going to be an easy out, and they don't pitch the ball. They start guiding it, and they end up walking him. Kern swings. He pounds it through that open middle. And I think this is a lesson Flashback learned because of Jerry Brown. This is Jerry 1 year in the TLC. When he was running Signature, Flash had a lot of power guys that pounded gaps. He went 4 outfielders. And Flash was a little stubborn that day. And there's a high pop-up, long run. Marston gets there, belly catch. And he makes it. And Solutions might have sprung the upset, but one of the kids they put into one of the alleys dropped a fly ball. So here's Joe Piscitelli now. And he swings, long run for Marston. He cruises over, makes the catch. So looked like Flash was maybe going to put something up. They had 2 base runners with nobody out, and they can't score. So 1 out, top of the order here in the 5th. His momentum has shifted a little bit. Yeah. So I don't know if the scorekeeper is aware of that, but she puts it up on the board. Well, the SSA rulebook states you have to start with 10. You can start with 9, but then it's an automatic out till your 10th player comes. The house rule did not address it. Some leagues will put in there that you can start with 9 and there's no penalty, but they did not have it, and according to some of our previous viewers that were at the league meeting, it was discussed. There's a ground ball to Stacy, long throw, and that'll be out number 2 as Danny Marston grounds out. And again, that's how it normally works. It doesn't matter what association you might be affiliated. Normally you would use that association's rule book, and for tournaments or leagues, and Ryan Russ is there. So 2 up, 2 down, the inning ends because of the automatic out, and we're going to head to the bottom of the 5th, 7-5. So usually if a tournament rule packet, and those of you that play in SSA events know that we hand out about a 9 or a 10-page tournament packet for all of our events because they're tailored to the individual parks. And whatever's not covered in there, we turn around and use the rule book. So Signature's hanging right in there. Flash has left a couple of base runners on. And you never like to see that because it has a tendency to come back and bite you. So Mike Manzella, Anthony Stacy, and Vito Ivonio. Mike takes that pitch a little deep. Of course, Mike Trump playing with Goodwood. They had a good weekend. Steve Burke doing a fine job. And Manzella, a little knuckleball, but right at Matt Menizzi, who stayed right with it, made the catch. It brings up Stacy. So we're looking forward. Chucks will be back in for the midsummer. There's a high fly ball. And for that Tom Exarnik Class A no glove national championship, we have Punch from Iowa coming in. They'll have the distinction of being the first out-of-state team to play in that event. So that's kind of cool. And they're planning on coming back for the Carroll Stream tournament. They are not sponsored by Signature, I don't believe, anymore. And there's a little cut job. That's going to be foul. I don't know if Sal, he might have been sold his interest in the company. I'm not sure what's going on there. But I think they got the Signature logo on the one sleeve there. So here's Anthony Stacy. I never named any of my teams after companies because you never know what's going to happen. There's a ground ball to Mahoney. Pitch and catch out number 2. It brings up Vito. So still time to get into that. No glove A. Call Patty Caputo, Ray Zarnick, or Carlos Castleberry if you're interested. And I believe that's a $250 entry. Haas makes the long throw in time. So we're going to head top of the 6th, 7-2. And it's going to be Spencer Mahoney, Matt Menizzi, and Greg Fleming. Good part of the order here. 3 guys swinging it pretty good. And you're only down a deuce. Again, Flashback basically had one big inning where they scored 6 in the second. They added a run in the third, but they've been pretty quiet the rest of the time out here. So I'm going to grab a swig of water, folks. I will be right back. And Spencer Mahoney leads off with a little bit of a knuckleball hit out toward Anthony Miserandino, and he made the catch. Sorry, I was running late today. Didn't have a time to grab a water with a flip top, so I had to deal with screwing the cap on and off. Brings up Matt Manizzi. And there he is. The 10th man has arrived. Tyler. And there's a high fly ball and cruising over is Kearns. Tyler, I believe, I want to say he's a teacher and he's still working on some type of graduate degree. You can see he's hustling up, trying to get himself ready. So if they do indeed get to him either this inning, get to that 10 spot, Fleming in the 5 hole, they won't be taking the automatic out anymore. And Fleming tried to go big. Ryan Ross got a real late start. And Joe Pish, way out in the outfield, makes the catch for out number 3. So looking ahead to the top of the 7th will be Brian Haas, Donnie Rollins, Alan Mills, and if anybody gets on, that guy Tyler. So Vito telling Bob Rush Jr. he had just enough time to get home and change and come to the game. Traveling is always weird. You're always fired up the day you're leaving with that anticipation and excitement. And then it flies by when you're on vacation, and then you get the little bit of depression that you got to go back to your life. And if you guys are like me, if I take a few days off, I got to sort through about 400 work emails. To be young and be able to come out of a car and jog a little bit, although he is grabbing that left hip a little bit. And he's trying to get those legs loose. I'm surprised nobody threw him a ball to let him throw a little bit. So it's going to be Ryan Ross, Denny Lawler, and Shane Lawler. If I was Flashback, I'd like to get a little insurance here and not let Signature get fired up heading into that top of the 7th. Who are we talking about? Amalia. There's a few Anthonys in the game right now.
Oh, my word.
Everybody's different. Some people don't mind being called Tony. Some like their proper names. So unless a guy tells me, hey, just call me Tony. Ryan, high fly ball. Marston's got a bead, puts it away for out number 1. So Flash has not scored since the 3rd. We'll see if it comes back to haunt them or not. Meanwhile, 7-5 on the other diamond. Impact hanging in there with the 45s. It was my understanding the 45's a little beat up and short today as well. And Denny tries to walk the dog, but hit it too fat, and it's fouled by about a half a foot. I think that was a good call,
Good miss, good miss. Hello?
as they don't have the foul line painted on the field. I'm sure before the Midsummer Classic, Richie Rico will be cutting the grass and putting the foul lines down. So,
Oh, yeah.
Vito and Matt Menizzi having a conversation saying he should have caught it. And Denny Lawler strokes his second hit of the ball game. And he's going to try it. And
Oh, my God.
they're
Friends are opening up for the fucking game. What are we talking about? We didn't have to Christ.
it looked like Denny got tagged up high above the thigh.
I don't know how he went around him. That's nearly impossible.
It was close. I thought he was going to be out by a lot, to be honest with you. And then Denny went into a slide, and Brian Haas just kind of reached down. Didn't really get the ball down by his feet. And that was an argument I used to have with umpires all the time, where a guy gets tagged up by the chest and the kid slid in, and the guy straddling the bag. And my argument always was, well, where are his feet when he's getting tagged on the chest? So here's Shane Lawler, 1 out double for Denny Lawler. And, you know, Denny Lawler doesn't run that well, but that was a hustle double as he was thinking two all the way. And Shane goes toward that gap in left center, and now they try to throw behind Ryan Russ. You know my thoughts on that.
Push once and one at them. All right, then push once, yeah.
Well, if that's the case, Amalia, they picked the wrong gal. So here's Anthony. Opportunity to drive in a little insurance, and he hits it right up the elevator shaft, and Mark Menizzi puts it away. So do or die, top of the seventh. Coming up for signature. They need 2 to keep the game going, 3 to take the lead. Anything less, and this ball game is history. And they will have, I believe it's going to be Spencer Mahoney. No, they're a little deeper than that. Should be Brian Haas, Donnie Rollins, Alan Mills. Anybody gets on? Enrique Munoz. And you can see Tyler really trying to get himself loosened up. And that's the thing you always worry about when a 10th guy shows up and he's supposed to go right into the lineup. You don't want anybody coming out and getting hurt. So here's Mike Marasovic trying to seal the deal here. And Haas swings and a bullet. Joe Piscitelli, good read, ran over and caught it. Of course, Piscia shortstop by trade. He's played a lot of short center when he got to signature. Flash has played him a little bit at third. And when everybody is here, including Joey Agardo, he's been playing a lot of second. So, versatile guy. And there's a little ground ball to Pish. And he throws it right into the dirt. And Donnie Rollins gets on. So Joe Pish had all kinds of time. Just kind of flipped it over there. Didn't really set his feet and throw. Shane Lawler can't pick it up. So now the door is opened a little bit with 1 out. And Alan Mills up. Now, we saw Alan give himself up in one of his previous at-bats, but that's not what you're doing here. And Allen dumps a single in front of Kearns, throw to second, not in time. Tell you, Brian Kearns was a little lackadaisical there. I think if he was charging that, he might have had a chance to get Haas at second. And now they'll courtesy run. And it brings up Enrique Munoz. Now, the one thing you don't want here is that double play ball. It's okay if he makes an out, if he moves both runners in the scoring position, but you got to have a plan. And he swings and he comes through. Haas had to wait. And you see there, Anthony Stacy was stretching like a first baseman because that was not a tag play. That would have been a fielder's choice. And here's Tyler right out of a car. Got a chance to be a hero tonight. With Marston on deck, still only one out. Now, see, Moji gave Mike Manzella the signal, if he hits it back to me, I'm coming to you. Because you're not going to double Tyler up. He's extraordinarily fast. So Signature making a little noise here in the seventh. And we told you that Flash flirting with disaster all night. And Tyler hits a fly ball. That's going to score one. And here comes Greg. They do handle the relay well. 7-6 ball game now with 2 outs. And it brings up a very dangerous Danny Marston. And I think if you're Signature, the way Marston is swinging it, he's the guy you want up in this spot right now. Now, and Danny's still a younger type of player. You just like to see it. You want to make sure you control your at-bat. And Marston, hard ground ball to Joe Pish, and Flashback holds on 7-6. That time Pish stood up and made sure he gunned it over there, unlike the previous ball when he just kind of flipped it. So Signature, despite having 9 guys for most of the game, hung in there. They take Flashback to the wire. Flash is, I think, only lost 1 time to Signature this year, but it was at the North-South and it knocked them out. So sometimes it's not how many times you beat a team, it's when you beat them. So on behalf of Gold Rush Gaming, SSA Broadcast, this is Gio saying we'll be back live for the Phil Coronado tournament at Harrison Park tomorrow night. Enjoy the rest of your evening.